Very dark man, very dark man. Guys, you all should know by now that very dark man is in a very big trouble. As long as you live in Nigeria, you are talking truth, you are an activist, and you are against the wrongdoing of Nigeria government, you become a target. This has been seen in history all this while. Let's take, for example, Fela Kuti. Do you know the things that they've done to him? How many times they tried to silence him? And finally, they succeeded in taking his life. And that is what happens throughout the whole history in Nigeria. A lot had happened. All because there are people who are activists, who talk, who say the truth. Fela's story is even far and wide. Let's think and talk about Uncle Dele Farotimi. He says the truth, right? Everything he says is always against the Nigeria government and against the people in power. And look at how they smuggled him the other day just for saying the truth in his book. So my besties, it was clear and obvious that this was going to happen one way or another to very dark man. It was expected. I wasn't surprised at all when the news came out. In fact, I didn't even post about it because I wasn't really surprised. But right now, even the news, everyone is analyzing it. Everyone is against what they did to him. They literally smuggled him. They literally could kidnap him. They did not just come to his house or go to his house with a warrant and take him. They actually smuggled him. So guys, I want us to watch the next upcoming video about this whole analysis from Arise News, and comment down below the comment section and let us know what you think. So let's get into the video.
In the wake of public outcry following the arrest of activist Martin Sosha, also known as Very Dark Man, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission finally released a statement on Tuesday defending its right to hold him. The EFCC stated in a post on X that VDM was arrested due to petitions involving alleged financial crimes and that he had refused to respond to multiple invitations, while the tweet reads in part. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, in the exercise of its mandate of tackling economic and financial crimes, invited Martins Vincent Osha owing to a series of petitions bordering on sundry issues of alleged financial crimes raised against him. He refused to show up in spite of several invitations sent to him through his known addresses and medium of communication. The petitions pertain to grave allegations of financial malfeasance, which cannot be ignored by the Commission. The EFCC has a lawful right to hold Osha in custody like any other suspect being investigated by the Commission. The appropriate remand order was obtained. In this regard, he has been offered an administrative bail and will be released after fulfilling all the bail conditions. Well, you know, this, of course, tweet has garnered a lot of reactions, Vimbai, really, because a lot of people, you know, were saying, really, was VDM really invited by the EFCC and declined? I mean, because we've seen several videos of VDM, you know, saying that EFCC cannot even invite him in the first place because he has no, you know, charges for any reason whatsoever. But let me take this tweet from Chooks. He wrote, a video has emerged showing that EFCC extended an invitation to Very Dark Man. However, reports suggest that he allegedly refused to acknowledge or respond to the invitation. Well, let's take a look at that video posted by Chooks.
It is noteworthy that the Commission extends an invitation to the ex-convict and the Very Dark Man to come and assist the Commission in unraveling the identities of the officers of the Commission to whom the alleged bribe of the sum of 50 million naira was paid. Regrettably, up to this moment, none of them have honored the invitation. While appreciating the seriousness attached to this incident and the noble steps taken by this Honorable House to unravel the truth contained in this allegation in the viral video for the sanctity of the institution and the nation Nigeria, the Commission wishes to assure this Honorable House and the general public that on our part, we are committed to getting to the root of this matter and appropriate actions will be taken accordingly.
All right. I mean, this was during the saga of Bob Risky. I believe VDM had made some comments at that time, and then you have it here, where the EFCC actually did make a press conference to invite him to their office. Meanwhile, supporters of VDM continued their protests yesterday, demanding his release.
We are outside for VDM 100.
Oh yeah, now let's calm down.
So my besties, I actually love this moment. Like, Very Dark Man is not even alone at all. During this moment, his supporters literally came out. They supported him massively. Guys, let's continue to watch this video.
Why are they carrying animals for us? Why are they carrying dogs? They don't even tell. They pour us tear gas. Why are they pouring tear gas? Why? Why? Why would they pour tear gas? Enough is enough.
What do we want? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want?
Free Very Dark Man, we know what we know. We know what we know. Free Very Dark Man, we know what we know.
Really very dark man. Really very dark man.
Oh, that last video there, Vimbai, was in London. And you saw school children. We've seen several videos of people demanding VDM's release. The EFCC also debunked claims that it arrested VDM because of the activists' constant attacks on its operation. I'll read part of their tweet here. They wrote in that statement, "It is needful to admit that the Commission is aware of several unguarded attacks of the suspect against its operation. While such conduct is condemnable, his arrest was not informed by such attacks. The relevant law enforcement agency will be allowed to look into them." Well, here's VDM in several videos that have now gone viral, accusing the EFCC of corruption.
The corruption of EFCC has literally no limits. So basically now anybody where Tinubu they vex with or APC they vex with, now EFCC they go pursue. EFCC is not competent enough to say they want the whole person for fraud. They don't get that credibility at all. Say there's no agency in Nigeria where corrupt with EFCC. I know say EFCC go they wonder why they find out, but like I said, I got eyes everywhere and I get informants for everywhere. EFCC are the most corrupt people. Like I said, 90% of them are corrupt. When they are ready to let me prove it, I'll prove it to them. Very Dark Man defame EFCC, let's go to court. Let us go. I will prove it that 90% of you are corrupt. I know you people will be wondering how I found out, but here's the thing. The truth is that I have informants in your office.
All right, there, VDM says, "I have informant in your office." I mean, would you blame Nigerians for saying this is the reason why he was picked up? Because on several occasions, he has come out to say that the EFCC is corrupt. Before I come to you, Vimbai, I'll take this final tweet from Excel. He wrote in part, "What's even more suspicious is the EFCC's admission that they are aware of his unguarded attacks. That's the real issue here. VDM speaks truth to power. He calls out corruption, exposes hypocrisy, and disrupts the comfort of those who hide behind institutions to loot with impunity. Now, instead of addressing the rot he has exposed, the system is trying to silence him through a conveniently timed arrest. The Commission talks about remand orders and administrative bail as though they are doing VDM a favor. Let's not get it twisted. Due process is not a privilege. It is a right. If he's been granted bail, why is he still in custody? Or is it yet another example of selective justice and unlawful detention masquerading as procedure?"
There's so many issues muddled up together where this particular case is concerned. But I think the focus is on due process from the EFCC, because if due process is followed, a lot of the other speculation that then begins to happen is subdued. So if you say rightfully EFCC has the right to say that we have information or we have evidence pertaining to X, Y, or Z, they can do that to anybody, no problem. But then if the procedure is followed, then we can sit and observe and wait for the process to play itself out. There's still questions about how he was arrested, because his brother says they were bundled up. It was like a kidnapping. That is still a question mark. why is the EFCC? Yes, fine. Even if let's assume that he refused to honor the invitation, does that warrant him being bundled up, and being taken to a place that they said for a while they didn't know his whereabouts? So definitely, we cannot overestimate the importance. We cannot overestimate the importance of due process. Now, there are so many issues here. The other issue that I wanted to look at was the issue, the protests, right? I think that it's formidable to see young people rising up for what they believe in. And I hope that if there's such an organized group of people with this much passion, that it can be bigger than VDM. I hope that it can be about the core foundation of the issue. As much as this is what has triggered this, it's important for us to also remember that, yes, okay, let's protest free VDM and so forth. It can be anybody tomorrow. So let's remember to have a wider conversation around we're protesting the fact that there needs to be due process in this system. Right. Nobody should be witch hunted or appear to be witch hunted because they want to call out the powers that be. The EFCC maintain that they have a case. Well, let's hear what that case is. Right. And we hope that from now on, things can be done.
I so much agree on this statement, the statement they made here. If only everyone in Nigeria can come together and protest for the things that matters, for the things that aren't, against the things that aren't right, maybe, just maybe, there would be change. But here is the case whereby Nigeria is so tribalistic, and once a set group come out to protest, the other do not support or join in to support. The togetherness is not there. So I feel like it will be hard to even achieve anything, even if initiated by an activist. Let's take Burkina Faso, for instance. Look at how Ibrahim Traore and his people chased out the bad and corrupted people. This cannot be achieved in Nigeria. And the only reason why Burkina Faso was able to succeed in this is because they were together. And this is something all African countries need to learn. But the funny thing is, when I see Nigerians saying stuff like there is an atmosphere of fear in Burkina Faso, I always wonder to myself, what planet are these people living on? This guy, in the image, this guy you can see on the screen right now, is a factional president of the Nigerian Association of Nigeria Students, who recently had his face broken by the Nigerian president's son, who is also trying to run for governor of Nigeria's richest state while his father is president. Tongues working for the president's son brutalized this guy, detained him, seized his phone, and forced him to post this statement on his Facebook account before releasing him. Remember, this is at the behest of the president's son, not even the president himself. And you are telling me that there is a fear of atmosphere in Burkina Faso. Is there no culture of fear in Nigeria at all? Is it not 50 times worse, where you cannot even go out at night, you are scared of kidnappers? Why are you rubbernecking into a country 1,000 plus kilometers away that you don't even share a border with when you have this kind of problem to deal with? I haven't seen Tongues working for Ibrahim Traore, going around beating up Burkina students and forcing them to post pro-regime messages on their social media. It's your democratically elected president's son that is doing that. You people should be real for once.
Right, Dr. Abati, before I come to you, meanwhile, the Nigerian Guild of Editors and the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project had called on the Tinubu government to stop using Cybercrimes Act to target journalists, activists, and critics. The organization expressed concern over how the Cybercrime Act, particularly Section 24 of cyberstalking, has been used to harass and persecute social media users since its amendment in 2024. They noted an increasing trend of using criminal defamation laws to stifle dissent and bring frivolous lawsuits against critics, posing threats to journalists' safety. NGE and SERAP argue that the Cybercrime Act is inconsistent with Nigeria's constitution and international human rights standards. They called on the government to review and amend the Cybercrime Act to align with constitutional standards, instruct law enforcement to respect citizens' rights, uphold press freedom, ensure access to information, and obey court judgments. Over to you.
Okay, very quickly. I think certain fundamental points to be made. This is the Nigerian Guild of Editors and the Socio-Economic Rights and Economic Rights Agency project complaining about the Cybercrime Act. What they are complaining about is they say it's been abused. Now, if you are complaining about a particular piece of legislation, the place to go is to ask for the abrogation of that particular piece of law. If any piece of legislation is a living subject, and the true test of any law is in its implementation. It is when it is implemented that you can say, oh, this particular law is not in order. So the Nigerian Guild of Editors and SERAP came together, according to the report, and said, look, this law is being abused and being used, cyber stalking, specifically Section 24 of the Cybercrime Act, being used to harass people, to intimidate activists and journalists, and that is also against Section 39 of the Constitution. Section 39 of the Constitution talks about freedom of expression and the right to own a medium of communication. And they also talked about Article 19 of the International Convention on Civil Rights. Article 19 is also basically about freedom of expression. However, it is not President Tinubu that will amend the law. The place to go is the National Assembly. If a law, a piece of legislation is not doing well, the people have the right to say, oh, change this law. We don't want it. If it's not a living law, it will be a dead law. You can always amend laws. However, my position is this. Article 39, Section 39 of the 1999 Constitution, with due respect, that the President, the Nigerian Guild of Editors and SERAP referred to. Under that old Chapter 4, Chapter 2 is non-justiciable, although Femi Falana SAN has said there's a decided case in which Chapter 2 can also be invoked. Now, no law under the Nigerian Constitution gives you absolute rights. You don't have absolute rights. Every law under the Constitution within the jurisdiction has its limits. Right. You cannot say because Section 39 says you can talk. That section does not include the phrase that you can talk anyhow. Yeah. Or that you can abuse the social media to embarrass, impugn the integrity of other people. And that's why we have laws of defamation. I've argued before that maybe the way the police are going about it, when I think it was Benjamin Hundeyin, speaking up for the police, was saying, no, Cybercrime Act, So, and I said, no, they should not abuse it. So it may be in the implementation. But the basic principle is that no citizen in this country has absolute rights. Right. And the organizations in this country, the law enforcement agencies, they have the right to call anybody to task, to investigate anybody. Right. So, and it will not be right to say, oh, this agency is corrupt. That's why they are investigating. No, that would be an illiterate thing to say.
Well, Rufai, so we can wrap this up. I mean, you can see images there that with, Dele Farotimi, Showore. It's good that SERAP at this moment is calling out these sort of, I don't know how to describe it, jungle justice, as it were, in the manner in which they, arrest these people because of cybercrime. I mean, look at that.
100% support SERAP.
Yes, SERAP and NGO.
And I agree that the buck stops with the president. He's the leader of the land. You see, we forget. We can all see that the president does not have anything to do with the court. We forget that the president is supposed to be the moral beacon of any nation. And what happens in any nation falls under the president. I mean, look at all these heinous activities and crimes that are being perpetrated. The high-handedness. What EFCC has done to VDM, is it right? Let's call it speed is speed. They arrested the man. You didn't issue a statement all this while. You said, oh, fraud, malfeasance and everything. You have not even shown us a charge. You are talking administrative bail. He's not been bailed. We are hearing counter and counter narrative. The truth has to be said. If a man had called that EFCC in the past, that they are corrupt and all of that, didn't the EFCC chairman himself say they have bad eggs amongst them? Why are we talking like we don't live in Nigeria? All you just need to do is to call him to corroborate. So the question we are asking is, what is going on? Is it because the man does not have the paraphernalia of security and states? Didn't the same EFCC try to go and arrest Yaya Bello? Didn't they push them away because military, police meet police?
Excuse me, sir. Can I have a moment of your time, please? What is it? Okay, wonderful. Have you had a car on PCP or HP between 2000?
And he was being guarded. Didn't the EFCC chairman, a man that is doing it great, by the way, and I support him. When he started to support the EFCC, I support the EFCC like I supported them a lot in the Yaya Bello situation.
All right.
Didn't he say, oh, I will resign if Yaya Bello is not prosecuted? Today, Yaya Bello's case is already in court. So you see, there's a level of high-handedness. If you don't have power in this country, you suffer and die. If you have power, you go scot-free.
All right.
President Tinubu, all of this is happening under your watch. I will ask you a question.
All right.
Láyé onígbọ́n nǹkan ṣẹlẹ̀, láyé àrẹ̀sà ní nǹkan ṣẹlẹ̀. So láyé Tinubu ní gbogbo eléyìí ṣẹlẹ̀.
All right.
It's in the era of President Tinubu, all of this happening. We have to speak truth to power.
All right.
Let's call a spade now. What country are we living in?
All right. Okay.
The leader is the moral head of every country. The leader is the moral head.
There are legal processes.
All right.
Law is not emotion.
Fantastic.
We know, but the leader is the moral head.
No.
All right.